Hi, it's Russell here again with another in our Using Bijingo video series. Today we'll be looking at how to add and manage resources in Bijingo. Resources can be added either licensed or unlicensed. Licensed resources are people who have a user account and log in and use the system. Unlicensed resources don't have user accounts and so can't log into the system, but can be used for planning purposes. Today, we'll talk about a type of unlicensed resource called a generic resource. So let's get started. To add resources in Bijingo, you need to either have the profile of administrator or to have been assigned the role of resource administrator at a particular level in the resource directory. Only administrators can assign the role of resource administrator. Today, we will log in as Cheryl Badwell, who is Assistant to the General Manager at our demonstration company, Acme IT. Part of Cheryl's job is to create new user accounts when people join the company and to manage the accounts as roles within the company change or people leave. So the system administrator, Bill Taylor, has assigned Cheryl the role of resource administrator at the Acme IT level of the resource directory, and so she is able to add and maintain resources in any folder of the directory. Today, a new project manager named Laura Dunstan has joined Acme IT. So Cheryl needs to create a new resource and user account for Laura. Cheryl has been instructed to set Laura up with the same profile, job title and roles as Ben Blackwood, an existing project manager. So let's follow the steps that Cheryl takes. Cheryl logs into the system and from the home screen selects resources from the main menu. The Resource Centre opens with the resource directory on the left of the screen and a list of all resources on the right. If she chooses, Cheryl can tailor the resource list in the usual ways, by choosing the columns and order to be displayed, sorting by any column, and applying filters. To create the new resource, Cheryl clicks the Add New Resource button. And in the resource details form, she types Laura's first and last names. Now Cheryl will use the Clone Profile function to accurately and quickly copy details from Ben Blackwood. She clicks the Clone Profile button. In the Copy Options section of the form, she clicks the tick boxes for the fields she wants to copy: Profile and Roles, Directories, and Job Title. Then in the resource list, she selects Ben Blackwood and clicks the Select button. The Resource Details form now shows that Ben's profile, resource directory, and roles have been copied to the new record. Clicking on the Resource Details tab shows that the job title has also been copied, while the Resource Profile tab shows that Ben's assignment authorized status has also been copied. The active flag, available from date, and daily availability all default correctly, so no need to alter them. Finally, to create an account for Laura, Cheryl clicks on the User Account tab, then clicks the Create User Account button. She then enters and confirms Laura's email address, which will be her Bijingo username, and clicks OK. Then to complete the transaction, she clicks OK in the Resource Details form. The system will then send an email to Laura with her initial password and instructions for logging in. When Laura logs in for the first time using the allocated password, she is prompted to update it with one of her own choosing. She enters and confirms the new password and is logged into Bijingo, and she can start using system functions according to her allocated roles. The Resource Clone Profile function can also be used to modify the roles of existing resources as well. John Thompson is the manager of the Design and Development Department at Acme IT and currently is the sole timesheet manager and approver for his department. This can be a problem sometimes if he is away when timesheets need to be approved. So John has decided to appoint Helen Coder, the Application Development Team Lead, as his deputy for timesheet approval and his other functions in Bijingo. So he wants her to have all his Bijingo user roles. John has the role of resource manager for his department, but cannot change user roles in Bijingo. This can only be done by an administrator or resource administrator. So John has asked Cheryl Badwell to copy all his roles to Helen. So Cheryl navigates to the Resource Centre, selects Helen's record and opens the details. Her existing roles are shown in the User Roles tab. Cheryl then clicks on the Clone Profile button and selects the only copy option she needs, Profile and Roles. She then scrolls down the resource list and selects John Thompson as the source of the copy and clicks Select. All John's roles are copied to Helen. If any fine-tuning is required, Cheryl can manually add, edit and delete roles as required. When she's finished, Cheryl clicks OK to complete the transaction, and the job is done. Most resources in Bijingo are real people who perform work tasks and have Bijingo user accounts. But today we'll talk about a type of unlicensed resource called a generic resource. Generic resources can be created in Bijingo and are used to represent a skill set or team rather than a specific person. For example, in the design and development team at Acme IT, there are 3 application developers, Helen Coder, Kylie Chang and Spiro Cosmos. When a developer is required for a project task, the project manager makes an advance request to Helen, who is the lead of the team. At the time of the request, Helen may not know which developer will be allocated, depending on other workload and specific skills. So a generic resource called *App Developer has been added to the team and can be assigned tasks. Notice the resource has a profile of generic, a daily availability of 0 hours, as the generic does not add to the capacity of the team, and is unlicensed. Helen tells the project manager to assign the task to the generic as a placeholder. That way, she retains visibility of the task and can ensure that she doesn't accept other tasks that will overload her team. As the start date of the assigned task approaches, Helen needs to decide which team member will do the work and then swap the task to that person. Using a generic resource as a placeholder for planned work gives Helen maximum flexibility in assigning work to her team. Generic resources are created just the same way as licensed user resources, but are given the generic profile, 0 daily availability, and the Create User Account step is omitted. And of course, generic resources do not consume a Bijingo license. If you're not currently using generic resources, perhaps you should consider it. We'd be happy to advise and help you to set them up and use them. So there is an overview of creating and maintaining resources in Bijingo, the use of the Clone Profile function, and how you might use generic resources. We will discuss generic resources and other planning techniques in our upcoming video on project planning, so watch out for that one. You can find out about user profiles and roles and their associated permissions by downloading a user manual from our website, bijingo.com. Go to the Support and Training menu and click on Bijingo User Guides, then the Resources tab, and finally the Resource Profile and User Roles User Guide link. The document that opens provides you with detailed information about what profiles and roles are available in the system and the capabilities of each. Remember, for assistance or feedback, you can contact us anytime by visiting our website, emailing us, or phoning us. So this is Russell signing off for now. See you in another video.